Hello, guys, and welcome to this edition of ESH News. And as you can see over here, we're on fire today. And not because of the flaming on the backgrounds. No, no, no. We are on fire because we got three lovely people over here hosting at the ESH News. And first off, let's introduce them one by one. And I think we will start off with one of the most amazing ladies that I know in the entire world, Roxanne, the globalist denier.
Hey!
Hey!
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Good. And how are you today, Roxanne?
I'm all the better for being here with you guys. I
Yes.
can't tell you, there's nowhere I'd rather be right now. So thank you for having me here. I can't wait to get stuck into this conversation and hear what you guys have got to say on this subject.
Aw, shucks, honey.
Great. So we got Alicia Keys on the background. It's on again, and you're on again with us, Roxanne. We always love to have you over here, and it's really a warm feeling. Except from the fire, just your energy is enough to warm us up in this horrible winter that we got over here, right?
We've ignited the fire of passion for truth.
Exactly.
Amen.
Amen. Anyway, and with that being said, we will get on to our next guest over here. Needs no introduction, also a veteran on our show, Mr. 007, Richie. How are you?
Hello, Shah. How are you?
Pretty good.
I'll have a cup of martini, shake on that stuff.
Anyway, Richie is joining us from Tenerife, from the Canarian Islands. And how are you this evening, dear old Richie?
I'm good, mate. I'm pretty good. I'm enjoying the journey that we're all on. It's always got these crazy surprises around the corner. That things come when you least expect it. Something happens, and we sometimes we perceive the things as bad initially, but then when you start really looking and you open up your perception, you realize, no, actually, this is clearing the way for good stuff. So I'm feeling really good and optimistic and positive.
As always, thank you very much, Richie. It's lovely to have you over here. And on the background, we're hearing your song, actually, Observably Flat, one of the finest creation ever created on the flat Earth plane. And I understood that lately you kind of like released a new version, edited a little bit, did something a bit different with the song.
It's actually a much better version of the song. If you remember what your first comments to me when I first sent it to you,
Yeah.
and you said that it was a little bit that they weren't quite clear, the lyrics weren't quite clear,
Yeah.
but you enjoyed that because it made you listen harder.
Mm-hmm.
But what Vertek has done is he's pulled everything. He's actually given it a professional. He's mastered it. He's professionally mastered it. So it's mastered in stereo professionally, and he's actually. I had a little bit of difficulty with the timing of some of the edits that I did towards the end with using Neil deGrasse Tyson, and what he did was he cleaned that up really nicely. And so when you listen to it in stereo, it sounds now. It doesn't sound as monotonous to me now. And I've had a couple of friends listen to it, and they've said they've heard the original. And they've heard this, the original one that I did, the mix that I did on my phone with my earphones against the mix that Adam did, and Adam's mix wins every time because it's really clear now what I'm saying. The lyrics are really clear, and actually, to be fair, half the song is the lyrics.
All right, good. So good luck with the new version, and I'm sure that it will impress all of us as we did in the first one. And with that being said, thank you very much, Richie. We will greet over here to our ESH News studio the guy that was here last week, and the week before, and maybe throughout my whole life. I don't know. Oren Shushan.
Amen.
How are you?
Hello guys. Nice to meet you. Straight from Tel Aviv. Good to be with you, lovers of the truth, the free truth, and that's the name of my group. Emet Hofsheet, Free Truth, that's the name of my Facebook group. You're welcome.
And
Love
yeah,
it.
I guess
Hello.
the truth is free for all of us, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
The,
So,
the lie costs money. The truth you get for free.
yeah,
Yes.
yes,
Think about
Very
that.
well said. Very, very well said.
yes. Good guys. Today I kind of like summoned the forces of the universe to bring you all guys to me, and actually it worked, I guess. And for this show tonight, we're gonna do a little bit talking about Freemasonry. We all talk about them from time to time, but I don't know. Sometimes not really in depth. And tonight I want to, I don't know, kind of like research.
Delve in.
Delve in. Yeah, exactly. This is the right word that I was looking for. And we'll do that by, actually we did that in the last 2 weeks with Oren. We kind of like understood the process of forming the Freemasons generally in the world. What are the sources of that? From which countries? After that, in the shows afterwards, we kind of like discussed how the Freemasons got to do with the establishment of the country of Israel, the state of Israel, and how it's like being involved also with lots of events and incidents that happened throughout the history of Israel. So it was very interesting. And today I want to talk about what we're calling hiding in plain sight, meaning all kinds of symbols and buildings and I don't know things that we see in our everyday life that we know it's coming from. We can't really explain what we're seeing, okay? But you can feel it's coming with some kind of like an agenda behind it, okay? Some kind of like someone wanted us to look at it in a certain way. Yes,
Where
Rich?
the meaning has been lost, over time. Maybe a couple of 100 years ago, the people understood what those symbols meant, but actually no, they didn't. Nobody ever really knew what those symbols meant, did they? And the curiosity over them is what has died. That's what's died over time. Is the curiosity? Oh, I wonder what that symbol means.
Yeah.
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 So I guess I want to start actually this debate with to debate. Sorry, debate is tomorrow. Actually, this discussion over here with Oren, he actually sent me. He told me about lots of places in Israel, for instance, the Supreme Court House or any kind of government buildings that kind of show us this kind of symbolism. Now, first off, we will start a little bit with what we talked about last week, how it all started. How did the Freemasons got into Israel, into the place that they can actually put those symbols wherever they want, that they can build which kind of buildings they want. Go ahead, Oren. Tell us a little bit. I'm getting you back into a certain point in time, like we did last week, which was 1948, the establishment of Israel. Let's say 1949, after the Independence War was over. And tell us a little bit what happened over there, and who took the control over this country in those days, and what were their initial states with regarding what we talked about earlier.
Wait, Roxanne, where are you talking from now? From the UK?
I'm talking from London in the UK.
Oh, so we have here UK and Israel together, and that's a historic Freemasonic story. Is it right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Because the England is the one to start the building of the State of Israel. They gave us the first how do you say, paper that says that Jewish people should have
The Balfour Declaration.
a home.
The Balfour Declaration.
The Balfour Declaration. It's coming from the UK, from the Freemasons in the UK, and they decided that they want a base here in the middle of the Middle East, and they decided they need Jewish people to build it because that's the best option to bring back the Jewish people from all their diaspora in the nations. In a move to prepare for the end times for World War III. It was even Albert Pike. I'm sure you know about Albert Pike and the three world wars, when he talks that after the Second World War they're going to create the UN and create a Zionist nation in Israel. And of course, they cannot be shown to control it. They got to let us think we control it, the Jewish people. So they leave their secret societies here, Freemasonry, that's connect direct to England, direct to the city of London. And they take the soldiers back, but we got a central bank controlled by Rothschild family. We got we got left and right in politics, the two pillars of Freemasonry controlled by the Freemasons, all politics. It's called full spectrum dominance. That's why they call it. And that's how they control us till today. That's the story.
I want to add up about the connection. One thing that I kind of like discovered in the city of Mazkirat Batya. It is one of the cities that Rothschild kind of like established. Batya, I think, was his wife, and it was established in the late 19th century. Until today, what you see on the main road of Mazkirat Batya is a telephone booth. A red one, okay, which can't be mistaken, with where it belongs.
I've even sent you guys a picture of the Rothschilds in their wedding attire. A wedding after party attire. If you look into your Skype chats, it's a horrendous picture. Actually, they're standing there looking completely well dressed, but it's the symbolism on their heads that will be their downfall.
Oh, I can see that
symbolism that you see throughout everything in our life, guys. It's right. It's very like Oren. Is that your name? Oren?
Yeah, that's my name, Oren.
Just exactly what you said. It's right up to now. This is not something that's in the past. It's not something that's dead under the water. It's something that's rife right now. Their symbolism is everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere. So I found the symbolism of like putting a red telephone booth on the main street of Mazkirat Batya is like whenever you're in trouble or whenever you need to contact us to report us what's going on over there. Here, you got the phone directly to the Queen, I guess, and from there it's a lot easier, I guess. And Oren, tell us a little bit more. Once Israel was established, it was the first 50s and 60s, and I believe the major thing that happened back then in those days was huge immigration waves that came over from the Middle Eastern country. The main people that kind of like established Israel were people from Europe, European Jews, and after that, after they got expelled from all the Mediterranean countries, lots of massive immigration waves over here. And tell us how the country kind of like tried to deal with those immigration waves. What did he did with them? It's a whole big story over here.
It's a whole big story. First, they sent the people that are the core of the control system is people that are masquerading as Jews, but they are not Jews. They say they are Jews, but they are not Jews. And that secret God already tells us in the New Testament 2,000 years ago. He says that the synagogue of Satan are people that are saying they are Jews and are not Jews. It's in the book of Revelations. It's got even 3 verses. 3 separate verses when God says that. And it's an amazing secret that God reveals to us. And they're doing their crimes, those Freemasons, the Rothschild family, for example, saying they are Jews, but they are not Jews. Saying they are Jews, but we know their secret religion is far, far from Judaism. And why do they take this custom of Jews? Because they want their crimes to fall back on the Jewish people, like the backlash. When you go rob a bank and you're my enemy, I'll leave your credit card there, or I'll leave your ID there, so the police will come back to you. So all those generations in the diaspora, they were committing crimes, and the Jews were getting the backlash Jews were getting accused in doing blood sacrifices and drinking the blood of children on Passover and stuff like that. And the Jews were like, well, what are you talking about? Well, we don't know what you're talking about.
This is the protocols of the elders of Zion, right?
It's connected, yeah. And all the generations, the Jews were accused by the population in horrendous crimes sometimes. And now we understand that the crimes were true, but the people, the synagogue of Satan, that did them and left signs of Judaism around. So the Jews will be blamed as a backlash. It's a satanic tactic, because Satan really, really hates the people of the book, the people that the Bible came out, and the Messiah of the world, Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus, came out of. And that's why. And you cannot blame the Christians, because everybody's Christian. So who's the second best thing? The Jews are the second best target after the Christians. So that's the story about all their lies. And so they masquerade as Jews, and when they send their core controlling group here, like Ben Gurion, Peres, all the Zionist secret society. Yeah, they were already formed in secret societies right here in Israel. Since the Templars, we got the Templars next to Azrieli, next to in Tel Aviv, the Templars street. You know, with the old houses of the Templars.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They even call themselves Templars, which is the original name of Freemasonry, the Templars. And they call themselves in the open. Yeah, we are the Templars, and they formed all the intelligence area there in Tel Aviv, Akiria, where all the army and the Mossad and all that area was their land. And from there, they started to run the business here in Israel. And they brought all the diaspora of the Jews back to Israel from first the Ashkenazim from Europe after World War II, and later on the Sfaradim, which is Africa and east to Israel, which is Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and
Syria,
later on...
Syria,
Yeah. And of course, those Jews that came here had no idea what is secret societies. They were completely out of it. They didn't know what's going on, and those Zionist Freemasons sent them to the borders of the land to build Israel when nobody wanted to go, to the desert where there is nothing, and you go and build their country. And they went, and they really suffered at the beginning, going to those places, and that's how Israel started. That's the story.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, Richie, I believe that we talked earlier about the origins of the belief of Rothschild. I believe that you kind of asked me about it previously. Am I correct? About the Sabbatean Jews. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, the research that I've done has taken me to I can't pronounce it the same way that you do. The way I pronounce it is Sabbatai Zevi, but it's something, isn't it? But he the whole 1666, he was claiming himself to be the Messiah, and got 1 million followers and all of that. The story about how he, when finally faced with the wrath of the Sultan, or the Persian Muslim guy, saying, if you don't convert to Islam, I'll cut off your head. So he converted to Islam and then told all of his followers, this is how we do it. And it was taking it was very, very Jesuit oath. The Jesuit oath, where it says, I think, where it says basically, you do whatever. You become a Catholic. You become a Jew. You become a Satanist. You become whatever it is to be able to get in there and do the work, basically. And when it comes down to it, you'll murder, you'll kill, you'll do whatever it takes for the overall plan. And that's basically the same. I think it was the same thing. That's why Man, honestly, I think that we're getting wrapped up in stories that have been written to tie us up in knots.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Roxanne, tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about. I'm sorry that we left you over here for a few minutes, but
No worries.
tell a little bit about London itself. Okay, I guess you were born in London, right? Okay,
No,
great.
I wasn't not myself. I wasn't actually born in London. I've lived in London since I was about 4 years old.
Oh, okay,
About four
yeah,
years old. So
that's
I've been schooled.
pretty much.
I've gone to
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone to primary school, gone to high school, gone to college in London as well. Worked in London, had my children in London, and still reside in London to this day. So yeah, I've been in London now since about 1985.
And tell me, when you mentioned like being a child in London, whenever I visited over there, and also like you always see that in movies, people like children go to school with these lovely like uniforms, all tidy and neat, and all of that. And the whole British culture, in some way, kind of like try to image itself as something really dignified, something really honorable in some way.
Yeah.
But in all sorts of ways, it's got also like pretty much of a deep inside Freemasons culture immersed in them. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's knowingly. I think it's unknowingly. I think that's a non-stick movement by the elites to have people unwittingly induce into a Sodom and Gomorrah type of living. You know, I think a lot of people don't realise the horrendous things that we're introduced to on a daily basis in our life. It's only when you wake up to some of these things that you realise how repugnant some of those things are.
And especially, I think if you check out the British history, which is full with, I don't know, colonialism and all kinds of invasions to different parts of the world in order to pretty much sack their, I don't know.
Well, I can summarize for you very quickly what
sure.
the history was for primary school kids my age. So I left primary school when I was in 1992. The narrative that we were all taught at primary school during the 80s was the First and the Second World War, the Great Fire of London, King Henry and his 8 wives, and the plague.
Okay.
Other than that,
the Middle Ages.
Other than that, there was no key stage history taught. That was the narrative that was taught to us. And if you were lucky, you got to watch the movie Gandhi.
Oh, okay. But the Gandhi kind of like.
And I think it would be quite good for us as adults now to kind of compare notes and tell each other, you know, what history did our schools teach us up to the age of 12? What was that initial history lessons that were given to us in preschool? Where, you know, the narratives were given by our ministries of education. Every country subscribes to that. And every country pumps out its national curriculum for said state that it's got its schools in. And so for my country, I know that pretty much the story is the same, no matter where you look across the UK. We were all doing the pictures of the Great Fire of London, and we were all made to do those pictures on black paper with red and orange bits of tissue, PVA glue, and we would, you know, make the silhouette houses with all the flames burning. It would look hellish, actually, rather hellish. But no, we were all conditioned to do that and completely desensitized to the fact that, you know, there was a fire and never really told the reason. And the fact that we were taught a narrative at all is extremely alarming. And if we did do something on the Egyptian pyramids, then it was a novelty that we were doing. It was a bit of art or something, but there would be no real depth gone into. So yeah, I think it's very concerning that we've all been given a narrative in the first place, and how many of us have compared notes to those narratives that we've been taught.
Yeah, I think that in the point you mentioned about the drawing of the London fire, it kind of like it reminds me how children today are being exposed to kind of like the ultimate character, the ultimate figure that they should inspire to are mainly like bad figures. For instance, vampires are becoming superheroes, or all kinds of like being the bad guy or being like devilish. It's something which is being broadcast as something which is positive, in all sorts of media and cartoons and books and whatever.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where it is. I'm very concerned as to why we've been taught a narrative at all, if any. We definitely haven't been given any balanced opposing views for those narratives that have been taught, have they?
Yes. All right, Oren, tell us a little bit. So we're getting back to Israel, okay, a few miles away, and tell me a little bit further on throughout Israel days. So construction was started. The people over here started to construct the country, put all kinds of institutes, buildings, and how with that you can see throughout the years. The control of Freemasonry over here in Israel, and what they're trying to accomplish with that.
It's a big plan, like Albert Pike told us, and the Bible. But let's stick with Albert Pike. It's a big plan that 3 world wars for the 20th century that after the Third World War, 1 world government controlled by the Antichrist, 7 years of the beast system with the mark of the beast. That's the big plan. And Israel was the second stage of this plan, the World War II stage. And they created us. There was the Independence War. And right after that, the first war after the Independence War is 48. 57, our first war as a nation is for British and French interests in the Suez Canal. We fight a British war for the British in the Suez Canal with a Jewish army, which is unethical. Like, why should you send our soldiers to die for British interest? And that's what happened in 57.
Oh, just a second. I want to ask Roxanne for a second. British-French relationship, okay? How does that work? Because from what I figured out throughout almost all of history, you keep hating each other. But nowadays they kind of like getting along, whatever. I don't know what's going on with the French.
I'm not too au fait with the actual history, because again I'm very skeptical about the narrative that we've been taught. And not to fast forward this conversation at all, but I would say if we're looking at a change of tide at all internationally with any countries, if we're seeing the puppets, if we will, showing a change of heart and getting along with each other where they weren't getting along with each other before, I think if we look at everything in the international climate of things that's going on, it's fair to say that we're seeing the systemic takedown of the old guard. If we're not, I'd love to know what someone thinks is actually going on just now. Because all roads to me seem to be, whether they're bad actors or good actors, whether they're deep state players or non-deep state players, I really think that we are seeing a massive shift just now with the elites. Yeah, with the elites. I think the trifecta, the Soros family, the House of Saud and the Rothschilds, I think that command structure is in deep panic just now.
Why do you think they're in panic? What is the reason?
Because we're because obviously if the old guard's been in control for generations, then they would be in panic if that control was threatened, and they would to lose that control for some reason or another, and that would be enough for them to press the panic button, which is I think what we're seeing internationally now. We're looking at shipping lanes being shut down, human trafficking being pinched. And every orifice of the deep state arms, from Planned Parenthood to selling fetuses on the black market. I mean, every avenue for them is being shut down. And I think if we're looking at the underground tunnel systems, if you look at all of the earthquakes that have gone on, what's the best way to get rats out of a system? You flood them out, don't you? So nice. I think, I would urge someone to try and change my mind. and tell me how we're not looking at the systemic takedown of the old guard right now. Because like I said, I think all the facts.
When you say old God, you mean the old gods, the fallen angels and Satan?
No, I mean the elites, the cabal.
You call them the old God?
The old guard, the Nazi world order control structure.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So, and you look at North Korea and Iran, for generations, they've provided protection for those elites. If you look at Operation Merlin leading into Iraq, North Korea, the Iran deal, which was a bit of a front, a fraud. Even if you look at the Paris Accord deals, the Samaritans, the Red Cross, all of these things are heinous. These people are sick. They worship the thought of Satan. They worship, if that's not bad enough, they even do that. And that's without the child sacrifices to Moloch and the rest of it. People would love to think this is a conspiracy. If your family hasn't stopped talking to you because you told them they're not on a spinning ball before, just tell them Pizzagate's real. Tell them child sacrifice is real and see if they invite you round for Sunday lunch next week. We'll find a way to not be invited round again,
Listen,
one way or the other.
For me, it's easier because we are in the Jewish people and we got the Bible here, and I just show it to them in the Bible. When the God says that it happened in all the generations, those sacrifices to Moloch, all the generations. So why do you think we are in a different generation, What's unique about us? We're even in a worse generation because we're in the end times, so it's got to be worse,
That's it.
And I think that all the signs are just over there, right? With the end of days, as you said, Roxanne, child trafficking, selling fetuses on the internet, things like that, which are really... I know our sensitivity back then, I think, would be a lot higher to those kind of things. But today it seems that it's, just, same old. And people, I think also with the Epstein affair that was a couple of months ago.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, man. The whole Epstein is a soft red pill for the sleeping masses for what is to come. Because unfortunately, nothing can now stop what's coming. We've just seen monarchy members walking away and seeking shelter publicly. Yeah. Diana's son has just publicly walked away from everything he's ever known. One thing I do know is see if people have crossed the line, and this doesn't matter if you're an elite or not. If you've crossed the line and the line is children, if you've harmed children or been involved in the harming of children in any way, shape or form, I think we all know there's only one thing in store for that person. And I think the Most High knows what happens there. And if you've been involved in anything less than that, then you'll be told to walk away. And if you don't, I think you're looking at the rest of your life incarcerated. So I think what we're seeing now, if you look at the amount of CEO resignations, the amount of walkaways we've got as well internationally, is too coincidental. And I don't believe in coincidences.
I think that also, Richie, we talked about coincidences once in a while, and you actually told me a very interesting private story regarding your life and Freemasonry, and I would love to, if you can share it a little bit, and just that we will try to understand a little bit of the atmosphere or some kind of feel the secrets that goes on over there. Can you tell us the story, Richie? Oh, I think we lost that. Hello.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can. This is being recorded, isn't it?
Yeah.
Live, so you can edit it.
That's good.
Yeah. Because, dude, I'm sat here. I'm sorry, but you must know, I'm sat here biting my tongue. Really quite hard, biting my tongue because you know how firmly I believe, how firmly I feel, how strongly I feel about certain things, because I feel very strongly because of the lack of guidance for me from the external. It's all come internally from myself. My request to the Most High to guide me to the correct answer. Right, that's why I feel so strongly about my position regarding religion.
All right.
And this is it. So, I can't remember. Is it Omar?
Emma?
Your friend who's with us now.
Oren.
Sorry.
Owen.
Sorry, I couldn't remember your name. Dude, right. My disclaimer now is I believe absolutely we were created. I believe absolutely in the Most High, the one that creates us, right? I believe absolutely. You have to understand, right, that my journey, in my perception, in my reality, what happened was I was attacked by jinn.
Wow.
And I called on. I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't able to do it because the jinn was stopping me from doing it. And when I called out in my heart to Jesus Christ, right, he, in my mind's eye and in my senses, it's like he put his arm around my shoulder. Now, where I'm sat now, I think that for some people that would have been the Messiah. For some people, for the Muslims, it would have been Muhammad. You know, I think what I think is, sorry, not what I think. That's the wrong word, because thinking is done by your ego. What I feel strongly in my heart through the guidance that I've received from the Most High is that what they've done is this Freemasonic paradigm, right, goes right back to the start of religion when the Templars, because it was the Templar Knights, they were supposed to be protecting the pilgrims, yet there's not one single record of an incident where they actually protected pilgrims. So they're meant to have protected the pilgrims, but all they did was they went and sacked holy sites. And when they sacked the last holy site, which I think was meant to be Solomon's Temple, where the speculation is they found his ring to command the jinn.
Amen. I talked about it, last interview.
Right.
Amen.
The thing is, what they did then, right? I think back then we knew there was a large portion of people that actually knew the real truth about what was going on. What they did then was they understood, they could see, probably through communication with the jinn, they could see a way to totally hijack the truth and insert this black and white paradigm, because everything like this realm is about duality. It's about you can be good or you can be bad, you can be light or you can be dark, right? And it's about overcoming, because all of us inside of us, we've all got this sort of shadow inside of us that, you know, is urging us to do bad things. Go on, do that. Go on, no, you know, that we've got and it's the whole angel demon analogy that goes on through my childhood. It was analogized as an angel and a demon, and they understood this. The Templars understood this, and the Freemasons are actually, it was the Masons. And what they did when the Templars were disavowed by the Vatican and they were outlawed and they were then hunted down, they found the Masons in the UK and Scotland, and they saw an opportunity they found an already existing secret society that was extremely secret and extremely loyal, and already used sacred geometry without even realizing what they were doing. And then they inserted themselves into that and created the Freemasonry, which is the Scottish rites, everything above the third degree, because Masonry only used to go to the third degree. It's like the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry. That's what Masonry was. It wasn't. I don't think it was known as the 3 degrees. It was just that was Masonry, and that was their secret knowledge. So they came and inserted themselves into Freemasonry, and then through Freemasonry and through the church, because it was the church that actually started the education. That's how schools started, was through church and through the Freemasonic education, where they inserted this black and white paradigm into us, and they hijacked the true story of what was going on.
Yeah,
I think religion, organized religion, whilst there is so much truth in the scripture, I think organized religion is, and all forms of organized religion
Amen.
are a control mechanism. They've hijacked the truth, man. And it's really difficult because when you speak, and you're speaking about scripture, and I'm thinking, oh no, please don't get stuck into the biblical paradigm, because it is just a paradigm at the end of the day. Because, like, I know that you're not dealing with the same text that we are with the New Testament, because obviously
I'm a
Jewish.
I'm a believer in Jesus. I'm a Messianic Jew.
Oh right, you are. So okay, so. I didn't know that
I
existed.
came to Yeshua through the research of the conspiracy truth movement. That's how I came to Yeshua.
Yeah. I mean, this might. Did you come across the Gospel of Thomas?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you how did you interpret that? Because the way I interpreted that, not having any other guidance at all other than how it felt in my heart. Right, like it made me cry when I heard it. I just filled up inside with, yes, man, this is the truth. And where he was saying about how Jesus was saying, if you can't believe in yourself, then just believe in me and watch me. I set the example. I've done this. I can do this. So if you are like me, if you live your life like me, you are me. We're brothers. He said that to Thomas. We're brothers. We're all sons and daughters of God. So we all have the same right to the same abilities that he had. And when the jinn materialized to me in 2016, what I said was, with the power and authority given to me by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right? Instead of saying, well, in the name of Jesus Christ, or asking for help in the name of Jesus Christ, I took the authority. I sort of, like he gave me the sword kind of thing. Instead of him coming in with the sword and rescuing me, saving me, he gave me the sword and allowed me to save myself.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfectly.
Good. Yeah, Richard.
See, Christian or anything like that. I'm very anti-religion, man. But I found truth definitely through, like, Jesus Christ definitely played a part.
And listen, in Israel here, when I talk about Yeshua or I talk about the Bible, people immediately connect me with religion, and I always tell them, even in my Facebook group, I always tell them a short answer: religion is a lie. On the first sentence, and it confuses them completely. They thinking I'm some religious guy. They don't understand that religion is a made man, even satanic lie, masquerading as the truth in the name of God. It's so satanic. You know what I'm saying? It's coming in the name of God, in the name of the Bible. It's how do you call this scam? Bait and switch. You know this scam, bait and switch. So they come in the name of God and the Bible, and they twist you in a different direction. That's religion.
Yes, Roxanne, can you add a little bit of that?
Say that again.
I heard you humming over there.
Yeah, no, I'm completely agreeing.
Yeah.
Okay. Agreeing.
So God in the Bible says He hates religion. God hates religion. He calls it the traditions of men. That's how God calls it. And Jesus, the last thing Jesus did with his disciples is to wash their feet. And the last thing, because that's the last thing you do for your disciples means that you really want them to remember it, because it's the last time you've been with them. So it's the most thing you want them to remember. And he told them, the bigger one, none of you shall call himself rabbi or father or a teacher
or leader
or leader of the rest. You're all brothers. You're all the same level. The bigger one of you be the servant of the rest. So no hierarchy. Nobody. Yeah, keep going.
It was something to do with back then. It was only the women or those of a lower class sort of thing would be the ones that washed the feet of someone else. Like like the wife would wash the feet. So for Jesus to do it was very, very symbolic for Jesus to wash their feet.
True. So he tells them, nobody should uplift himself above the rest, saying he's the teacher, he's the wise guy, you know, and everybody should listen to him. So all religions are Jesus just killed all religions at that spot. Just killed it. Any hierarchy that of a rabbis or a priest or that tells you, oh, you got to come to God through us, you need us, it's a lie from the beginning. So that's it. It just summarized the whole thing.
I love that you said that, man. I love that you said that, because it's just fascinating, isn't it? How they managed to take the truth and sort of remove it from us, completely remove it from our consciousness and put it, you know, say like they actually took God out of our hearts and put him outside of the realm to this sort of, oh yeah, you can't get to God unless it's through here. And because that's the way that people perceived it, or that's the way people still perceive it now. That's the way it is for them. But once you're able to perceive that, no, the Creator's living right inside you, and you're
in direct connection with him.
You are the living word. We are the living word. We are creation. We are walking, talking, living, thinking creation. You know, feeling, the most important thing, feeling our emotions.
We just want to add to that I think that if there are two roles of someone who teaches you things in life, meaning two kinds of people that are teachers. One is the teacher, the other one is the preacher. Now, the teacher, he teaches you things, okay, about life, information. The preacher will teach you about, I'm not talking about the preacher of the church, of course, okay? The preacher in general will teach you about your conscience, okay? Now, I think that the way to observe and to identify when Satan is coming towards you, Satan will be the one who identifies himself as both the teacher and the preacher combined, okay? And no kind of person can do that to you, okay? The media try to do that to you, religion try to do that to you, science, of course, whatever. They all tell you, we got the information for you, and we know what is right and what is wrong, okay? And if someone is coming to you with that approach, you need to suspect with him immediately.
Can I just say something quickly?
Sure.
Just because it relates to what I sort of said earlier in my disclaimer. So, because you refer to what I say is it as Satan or him, whatever, I think that Satan is something that we've created a consciousness. Definitely, there is a hive mind consciousness that's tuned into this, what we would consider to be in biblical terms satanic, and it's created this consciousness that's all based around, because the thing that they've done is they've misled us through our egos. They've put our souls to sleep, right? They've stopped the nourishment of the soul, and all they've done is nourish and inflate the ego for the last 100 years. And so, you know, a lot of people can't even hear their soul when it's, you know, crying out to them, you should listen to this, or you should do that, when their heart's telling them, you know, something's wrong, or they shouldn't be doing something, but society's telling them, yeah, this is okay and you can do it. And you know, and if you don't do it, you're bad. But your heart's telling you, no, it's bad if you do it. You know, these people listen to their egos. They don't listen to their heart, and they follow what society tells them to do, because they've just done their best to separate us from our spirit, from our souls.
Amen. True.
Yes, Roxanne, tell me, I want to hear your opinion about this thing that Richie mentioned. Do you think that Satan is a real entity, or is it just an idea, like Richie said?
I think it could be a malevolent force. It could be a malevolent force.
I didn't say it's an idea, dude. It's much bigger than an idea. It is an actual entity now. There is an entity.
Okay.
I believe too. The Bible tells us who he is. He used to be the eldest son of the cherubim angel class. He was the greatest angel. Yeah, he's an angel. He's a fallen angel.
Yeah. See, my perception of this now is that the fallen angels, like I see what they've done is they've separated. I feel that I made a connection with my higher self. Like, you know how the truth comes through the scriptures and stuff, and there's a lot of talk about the Trinity. Tesla talks about 3, 6, and 9. I think 3 and Trinity is an important thing, and I think me, myself, and I. So my ego, my soul, and my higher self. I had an experience after I had 2 manifestations from our jinn friends. The second time I used my own authority, and I didn't need to call on Jesus. I used my own authority. I used the authority already given to me the last time, because it's like I remembered the last time, and that gave me authority, you know. So I honestly, I feel like Lucifer or Satan or whatever, and these fallen angels, there was something that went on between the higher selves and their souls and their egos. They all conspired together to take control of this realm, and that's why I think the higher selves were what were cast down. The higher selves of these ones that rebelled against the rest of the consciousness, you know, the collective consciousness together, and that's the representation of, you know, they what they've done is to insert themselves, because of their huge egos, to insert themselves into the story as the bad guys. You know, Lucifer was a fallen angel, and because of the law, because the Most High is the Most High and has ultimate control over everything, they were only allowed to twist the story so much. So they twisted and they weren't allowed to paint themselves as the good guys. So they made themselves into demons and into lords and princes of hell, and you know, because the way they control us is through fear. The best way to control an ego is through fear. You either massage it and you make it, and you fill it with wonderful things and tell it it's beautiful and wonderful and fantastic, and there's nothing greater than it, or you oppress
the New Age, by the way.
Yeah, that is the New Age. That's what they've done.
What you just said is the New Age. It's amazing.
Anyway, guys, I think that we'll do a recess for about 5 minutes or so. We will get back on ESH News after this break.
I don't like religion either.
Yeah.
I'm against religion.
I seem to piss a lot of people off when they ask me if I'm religious, and I say I don't subscribe to a religion, but I stay with the Most High. I stay with everything I do in life. I observe.
I tell them the religion is a satanic lie to their faces, and they're then confused. But they tell me, "But you believe Jesus, so how can you say that?" I'm like, religion is not from the Bible. The Bible is against religion.
I know that. All I know that is that in all the talking I've done at Speakers Corner and all of the conversations I've had with multiple religions, the one common narrative that seems to tie all of the religions together is that if one is to prescribe to anything that religions say, it says don't put anything between yourself and the Creator. Yeah. Don't worship anything between you and the Creator. Don't worship any man or any god.
Or any ritual even. Don't do anything. Ritual. Even.
No pagan holidays. Don't recognize things that are given to you by.
Exactly.
And what baffles me is most of these religious arguments are based off of information that has been received by a man, not the Most High. So I tend to look at all of that like disrespecting the Most High. That's not what the Most High wanted his children to do, to scrap at it like that. It's mad. And I see it at Speakers Corner on a monthly basis. People screaming, "My God's better than your God, and here's why." It's crazy. It's crazy. And those arguments are more socially accepted than me telling them the balls a lie. And then when I tell them, okay, so where you're religious and you're on your deen with your Muslim self, so in the Quran it tells you don't put any false idols between you and the Most High. So what are you doing putting the ball on idolship for? You're getting mad because I'm telling you you're not on the spinning ball that man gave you, but you're getting angry at me.
Yeah, it's like people like me and Oren will argue who's got a bigger one, you know. Anyway,
it's crazy.
Yes.
When people think they don't idolize the globe, and you go and take the globe away from them, and they behave more abhorrent than any other time in their entire life. That's when I feel like when you take the ball away from people, you see a little bit of the devil in them.
There is something interesting about that, yeah.
It's like a purge. It's almost like a purge.
I think it's
the malevolent out of the indoctrination.
Yeah, perhaps
it's a perfect,
perhaps it's like actually continue on with the recording over here. We already started. Anyway, I think that when you take the ball from the people, you get them into insecurity, okay? And the insecurity, I think this is the devil's realm, okay? Of being feeling a little bit insecure, and this is where it gets you into the limbo, okay?
Let's be honest. If you had a onesie on your whole life, and then at some point you took the onesie off and you'd never known life without it, you'd feel a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, of course.
Anyone would feel a bit vulnerable. It's almost been like everybody's security blanket, this false paradigm that's been given to people.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right. I want to convert the discussion a little bit to the topic that we wanted to discuss on. And I wanted to get back to get out of devil's realm and get back to our old beloved Israel. And one character that I mentioned, and for you also Roxanne, and for you also Oren, was of course Chaim Weizmann in the establishment of Israel from the story of Isaac's well, if you remember. And this actually signifies completely the other aim that the other tool that they used in order to hide God, in order to put maybe like the biblical story beneath, like the tool of science. Okay, and the story is about the Sif Institute, which was founded in 1924. And later on became the Weizmann Institute, where Chaim Weizmann, the president himself, moved over to live over there. And as I was claiming, the story of Isaac's well wasn't over like in Genesis, but is continuing till our own very day. And this well still exists beneath the Weizmann Institute. So I think that one other tool that they're using, at least here in Israel, and I think in other places as well, is the science. And I think that the representative, okay, of this science, or maybe in general the Freemasons' agenda, is kind of like the leader, okay, the representative leader. For instance, in Israel, we got the prime minister, which is the operative leader. He is the one who's like leading the government, and is the one who's making actual decisions in real life. But you and I know that those are not really the actual decisions. And from the other side, we got the representative figure, which is the president, okay, in Israel. Now, this institution is very, very weird, at least in my eyes. It kind of like simulates, it's the same, it's parallel to the Queen, to the whole royalty house in England in some way, okay? They don't have like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't have like a very operational power. They are the representatives. And what are they supposed to represent, okay? Oren, do you have any kind of like thoughts about that, about the whole presidency concept here in Israel? Is it related to Freemasons? Is it related to?
All the system. Listen, all the system here is related to Freemasons. Here, the presidency is kind of honorable, like position. It doesn't got a lot of real, power here in Israel.
Yeah, but
The
the
prime minister
the
is
figures that were occupying the presidency in Israel, they are very very suspicious figures. Okay, let's
yeah.
mention part of some of them. Let's start with Chaim Weizmann, of course, and Katzir, of course. Actually, I think his nephew or his brother. I don't remember correctly. He actually lived in Rehovot as well, and he was a scientist in the Science Institute. And you got the Katzir Institute High School on his name here in Rehovot. Okay, and after that, in our days, we kind of know, of course, Chaim Herzog. After that, Chaim Herzog is actually British, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, I think he is.
Yes,
I think he was from Britain. I'm not sure if his lineage is from Britain, but
yeah. And of course, Ezer Weizmann. Ezer Weizmann was, I think, the nephew of the original Chaim Weizmann. And after that, we got also Moshe Katsav, which was, of course, was he a Freemason, Oren? Moshe Katsav?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay, you have to complete science about that because Moshe Katsav is the one who's being accused with rape and misconducts with all his staff, and he was actually removed from his office and got into jail right now because of his acts. He's our first president in jail. And replaced him, who was the greatest Freemason ever in Israel, of course, Mr. Shimon Peres. And this guy, it was the fulfillment of Freemasonry in Israel. It was in that time I actually figured out that it's completely not necessary. This whole kind of like presidency, because he did big parties with all the leaders of the world coming over to him and big birthday parties, and he didn't, of course, decided anything. And by the way, if we're talking about that, have you heard, Roxanne, what's happening over here in Israel in about a week or so? We've got lots of dudes coming over, and I think it's for some kind of like a secret meeting that they're holding over here.
Oh, it's a huge meeting, I heard. What's going on there? Roxanne, do you have some information?
Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm going to open up the article pretty soon, but there are like major things. Philip is coming over, Holocaust Forum, okay? 26 presidents, okay? You see, 26 presidents, 4 prime ministers, 4 royalties, and lots of others are coming to this one. And we've got Putin, of course. Yeah. Oh, we got Mike Pence coming over. Yeah, Mike Pence. He's a sweetie.
But not Trump.
No, not Trump. Oh, we got Nancy Pelosi. I think that we should start off a drinking game. Each time we mention a name that is a Freemason, we should take down a shot or something like that. Okay.
So what is the headline of the meeting? What is the meeting's purpose?
Oh, it's like the International Holocaust Day, or something like an International Holocaust Conference. It's against anti-Semitism. Oh, Macron is going to be there, of course. The president of Italy, president of Ukraine. Oh, and we got the King of Holland coming over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the guys. Oh, yeah, and your favorite. Sorry, not Prince Charles. Prince Charles himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Prince of Wales and the first.
Oh dear.
Yeah. What do you think about this dude?
I mean, international leaders all descending on Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something is going to happen. I don't know what's the.
Can someone tell me when the last time that happened? When was the last time that world leaders went and met up in Israel?
And one other guy, Oren, one other guy for you, the Cardinal called Koch. Okay, yeah, the Swiss Cardinal from the Vatican. Yeah.
Wow.
He representing them. So you got like a serious meeting going on over here. Very interesting. Oren, what do you reckon about this meeting? What's going to be over here?
I don't know. If every time they do this kind of meeting, there's a secret meeting behind the official meeting, and then they're talking about heavy stuff, heavy plans, for what's coming. Because they're really bump up the gears with this Iran war. They are planning, so who knows what they're going to talk about,
So no
about,
anti-Semitism, no Holocaust, just like ordinary business meeting, or just just hanging out and making some devilish sacrifices.
I think they're meeting
40 international leaders. Yeah,
40, yeah.
It's amazing. I think they're meeting to decide the future of the region and the world. I think that this is very heavy. Kind of people in Freemasonry, like highest levels. So
I think
they're coming here to Israel to talk about.
Sight. Yeah.
Yeah, hidden in plain sight, and and they do it here in Israel. That's very symbolic. And if it's in Jerusalem, that's super symbolic. And who knows what they're gonna talk about, especially in the time we are in. I think it's the end of the end times. So who knows what they're gonna talk about.
All right. Good. So we are preparing for that, I guess. Let's see what they're saying over here. Asi kind of like claimed that it's kind of related to this guy from Virgin Records that came over and kissed the ground over here in the Holy Land, and he said it kind of related to that. It was like the preview for that. What's his name? Bronson, something like that. The guy from Virgin Records, the ginger guy.
Yeah.
He came over here like 2 months ago, and he said that he's planning on, sell us some space programs or high tech or whatever. But then again, you're feeling a little bit. You feeling that it's something different, and maybe the something different was this meeting that is supposed to be. So they're arriving tomorrow on Wednesday. 41 leaders supposed to participate in the event. Here we go. Ruben Rivlin is going to host this event in Yad Vashem. Okay, Yad Vashem is the memorial museum for the Holocaust in Israel. Really? Everyone who's coming to Israel going to Yad Vashem is like the ultimate place to learn about the Holocaust. And as Oren said, it's so symbolic. Okay, they're meeting over there to plan out World War III. Just plain and simple.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay, the guy from Bulgaria, Romania, the guy from Latvia, Finland. The guys, yeah. Okay, we will expect that. And next week you also got a week of we got the international science week. Okay, in Israel. We got like activities. We got the astronauts coming over. I don't know. Maybe it's also like not a coincidence.
It doesn't sound like it could be a coincidence at this point now, does it? Or is that just me?
Yeah, because I guess science maybe like pops up like a flashlight every time that a meeting like this happens. So I don't know, maybe they had to signal the guys over there that they're still operating with the science. And I guess we have all kinds of activities in Israel regarding space and science. In my hometown, Rehovot, they kind of like doing a gymboree for space or something like that. For children, they're bringing all the gloves and all the astronaut suits and simulate how you're going to be on space in some kind of like community center here in Rehovot. They're doing it in several cities in Israel. So the indoctrination is going harshly even today. Oren, can you elaborate a little bit about other symbols that you can identify besides, as I told you, science, or maybe even like visual symbols that you still see today in our lovely land?
There's all kinds of symbols. People don't know, for example, the symbol of Islam. This war that's coming between the Judeo-Christian world and the Islam, Iran, and Turkey and all that, and this Ezekiel war that is coming. Islam, their symbol is this crescent moon with the star, right, inside.
Yeah.
Am I right? You know, it's the ancient symbol of Baal worship. In
Baal.
ancient times, yeah, it's Baal worship symbol. It's the symbol of Luciferian Baal worship. And now we understand that what they did, what Satan did, is that after Yeshua came and the gospel started to spread all over the world, there is a war over our heads. People understand. People think it's a human war. It's like people want to control people. No. What's going here? You don't understand the picture if that's what you think, that it's some human interest against human interest. No. What's going on here is spiritual forces in high places, just like the Bible says, those fallen angels that rebelled and control humanity for all those generations since the generation of Noah. They rebelled, and there are and they had 70 generations for their judgment, and now their time is up. They know their time is short. The dragon, Satan, knows his time is short, and is really angry. And he's preparing the world for the end times, great deception, to deceive as many people as he can after him to the lake of fire. And they're preparing this world war to present the Antichrist, this leader that's going to come after the world war and going to masquerade as the Prince of Peace, and he's going to come in the name of love and peace and new technologies of health and longevity, and he's going to promise humanity so many amazing promises, and new age religion that will replace the old religions of the Bible. Some of them, most of them are fake themselves, controlled by Satan, because Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, the religions, I mean, are controlled by Satan too. He just wants to replace them with a religion that is fully satanic. Not halfway satanic, fully satanic, and completely persecute whoever still believes in the Bible. Of course, you're going to blame this war on Bible-believing people. That's the whole plan. Telling the world, all those fanatic religion people, those Jews, Christians, and Islam, look what they did to this world. Look at this world war. Look what they have done. Let's get rid completely of the Bible and those people, and we'll have peace. And that's what's coming. And I'm sure this meeting that's going to happen right now is talking about their next moves in the region concerning this third world war with Iran that is coming in the area of here, in Syria, and all the area.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Oren, I want to present over here, it's related to what you said, I think, and what we talked earlier. It's a speech of Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, and you listen to it? A second. And okay, he's saying, like in a speech 3 days ago, okay, that the leaders of the Medinot Neorot, of the developed state, okay, of the Neorot is like developed, it's like developed morally, okay, let's say it like that. They understood recently that yes, that they will establish a new world order. Yes. With regarding to the Holocaust, to visit that they come over, is just saying that in the speech 3 days ago. Just a second, I want to continue on with this one. Okay, it relies on this new world order is relying on the basis of protection of freedom. Yeah, resistance to evil and resistance to monarchy, or to let's say it, aritzut, totality. Okay, totality with government, and this is just saying that plain right open. Okay, and this is how we can summon those people over here. Very, very interesting, and this new world order, okay, is translated into Hebrew, Seder Olami Chadash. What are they intending, Owen? Can you tell us, and how they transmitting that, besides for Bibi over here?
of course, Bibi is a Freemason himself. was brought up by Henry Kissinger, which is a high Freemason, so maybe connected to the Zionist Freemasons in the United States, mainly the Republican side. And they're all getting orders from the secret societies to push the New World Order on the people, prepare them psychologically, because they cannot bring it right now. They need a war. They need a war.
What will it be? What will be the New World Order? How it's going to look like?
This New World Order is going to be a world government. World government, just like the UN, but for the whole world. But they cannot push it now. It's just the psychological predictive programming stage. When they talk about it and they prepare the people and they just prepare you psychologically. So after this trauma they're planning a big trauma. It's called that's how they work in the big levels of the world levels. It's called a trauma shock therapy. That's what it's called in the psychological terms. So you get the nations into a big trauma like World War III, and then on that trauma you can push. You prepare them psychologically. You prepare. You talk about this new world order, peace, world peace, and then you create a big shock, a big trauma, and then you push it. You push the solution you prepared from advanced, from before the problem. We talked about it. Problem, reaction, solution. That's how they work. They create the problem themselves. First, they have a solution they want to push on the people. They want a world order. So first, they create a problem. This world war, then they will wait for the people reaction, asking for peace, desperate for ceasefire, and then they're going to push the solution they have from advance, this world order, and that's their game. That's what they're doing now to humanity. That's the game.
All right, Roxanne, what are we doing? It sounds bad. Do you have any besides what we are doing, trying to do actively, trying to do a YouTube show, you're doing your stuff, what can we do and how can we resist that? Where is the hope, do you think?
The hope, I think, is within ourselves. We need to help one another as we go along. If one asks one questions, we answer it. This is how we grow. There's no more room for arrogance and self-importance talking about these most important topics that we're talking about. They want us divided by race, class, politics, affiliation. They want us divided in every way, shape or form. So I think if we can stay the course, carry on uniting, carry on talking to our brothers and sisters, not isolating ourselves within our family. And if we see something, say something, not to go quietly into the night and put things under the table for fear of social reprisal or social backlash. I think a lot of people are scared, really, to talk about in public what they feel in their hearts, in their moral compass, that they know right from wrong. I think just looking at, things that have happened recently, people are scared to say how they feel because they fear losing their jobs. They fear being shunned out of their social circles, which is why it's so important for people not to isolate themselves within their families.
All right. I think that with this thought in mind, we will conclude this broadcast for today. The fire still works on the background, and we still, I think, should get inspiration from this fire that keeps going on, because this is what should keep us going and keep us trying to fight the devilish fire in some way. You fight fire with fire, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Good. And Oren, thank you very much for joining us for this show. It's always
a pleasure.
Nice to have you, and of course your seat here in ESH News is always guaranteed. And dear Roxanne, it's always lovely. Yeah. It's always a pleasure. You are a wonderful person. You are angel down here on earth, and we all thank you for joining us on ESH News.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here again, darling. I really appreciate you inviting me on here, guys. It's been wonderful talking to you both.
Good. So have a pleasant evening, and we'll talk soon. And wish us all the luck in the debate tomorrow. With
big time. I will be watching. I will be watching when you put it on. And good luck with it, guys. I know it will go well. The truth is on your side.
Amen.
All right, guys. Good evening, and thank you very much again. Bye bye.
Alrighty. Take care. Bye bye.